And I got to ask, we got three kind of superlatives: most important player, most surprising player, and most impactful transfer. So far this season,
Oh,
I think we both can agree Terrence Edwards is the most important player. Leads the
yeah.
team in points this season with 17.9, and he's second on the team with 5 rebounds per game, and he's shooting at a solid clip. What is he shooting at? About 45%, 43 from deep. So overall, really solid season for Terrence Edwards, putting together a Sun Belt Player of the Year type of game, type of season. So I think we can both agree he's the most important player, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Bob Chesney says yes.
Most surprising player, you mentioned him. I think it's the 18-year-old Jalen Carey.
Yeah, he's just like comes in for Bickerstaff and is like a perfect backup. They abused ODU in the paint. ODU is a little bit undersized, and they hit him with sort of like some pick and roll action that they kind of had no answer for. Bickerstaff was 9 of 12. Carey was 6 of 6. Did not miss. Had 13 points in 17 minutes. It was just really, really good. He's been phenomenal, and his size makes him a good defender, right? Because it's hard for them to kind of move him down there. Same with Bickerstaff. They're big, they're athletic. He's a phenomenal recruit, and to be honest with you, pretty shocked that he ended up at JMU. Like he's very good.
He's a very good player. He had a career high 16 points against Keystone. Back that up with a career high against Division One teams with 13 against ODU, like you said. But the most important thing, he's had the last 2 games played without a single foul committed, and over his last 3 games played, he's only committed 1 foul, which is pretty big considering how he started this season: 4 fouls, 3 fouls, 2 fouls, no fouls, 1 foul, 3 fouls. Like he was kind of a fouling machine. Wasn't really getting his feet in the right spot, was moving a lot when he was trying to block shots and down in the paint. So it's really good to see that as of late, he hasn't been getting the whistle. He's doing what he needs to do while also being just absolutely potent from the field. He's 14 of 16 from the field over the last 2 games.
I also made a big stink in multiple seasons and off seasons about them not being able to block shots. They're blocking a lot more shots this year and defending the two much better.
Before we get to most impactful transfer, is it time to say sorry about how we thought of Byington's roster construction?
He absolutely killed this transfer cycle.
And this recruiting class.
This roster is phenomenal. He put together just a perfect roster construction. We talked about like the lack of height. Bickerstaff and Carey might not have like the 6'10, 6'11 number, but they play like real bigs and they can block shots. Wooden's blocking some. Edwards can get in there, even Friedel occasionally. It's a great mid-major roster.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Moving from that, most impactful. I'll say sorry. I'm sorry, Mark Byington.
Yeah,
I
me
am
too. I'm
so
sorry.
sorry. We had a group chat name that the Dukes need bigs, and we were getting mad every time that a new guard was announcing that they were transferring to JMU or someone under 6'9". Well, you knew what you were doing. This is why I'm not a coach. I apologize. This is why I'm a podcaster. Most impactful transfer. Whoever you don't say with this answer, I think I'm going
Okay.
to go with the other person.
All right, I'm going Bickerstaff. This guy is a monster in the post, putting up absurd numbers. Seems like he's kind of unstoppable, has an elite offensive game where he can find ways to score in the post more so than the previous bigs JMU had. Great rebounder, can get in there and block the occasional shot. Really just an unbelievable ad, especially somebody who rebounded well at a power conference school in Boston College. Like to add him the experience, the rebounding, the scoring. They have a big to go with Edwards and the guards, right? Which I'm sure you're going to pick a guard here as your most impactful transfer.
Well, if you had picked the guard, I was going to pick TJ Bickerstaff, in
Yeah.
fairness. This is just trying to show the love to all the impactful transfers, because Michael Green, the grad student from the Bronx, has been absolutely electric this season. He's averaging 12 points per game. He's coming off of a 13-point performance against ODU. Before that was a 21-point performance against Keystone. Before that, a 14-point performance against Buffalo. He is absolutely electric. He averages about 5 assists per game with only about 1.7 turnovers per game. Having that type of significant assist to turnover ratio from the point guard spot is something that we haven't really seen all that often the last few years. And he's shooting at an extremely solid clip. He is shooting 46% from the field, 46% from behind the arc, Bennett. Do you get how insane that is to be shooting 46% from three?
Before the season, I was like, "Oh, they're a small ball team that can't shoot the three." They're shooting like 40% from three. They're one of like the 25 best 3-point shooting teams in the country, and Green's
So
a key part of that.
they have one, two, three, four guys this season who have shot 33s or more. Three of them are shooting 40%, 42% or better. Terrence Edwards, 42.4, Noah Friedel, 43.4, and Michael Green, 45.8. The only person who has shot 30 or more threes this season and have a sub 42% three-point shooting percentage is Julian Wooden, and I trust he's going to get back on track.
I believe there was a sequence against ODU where I think it was Green maybe like drove toward the rim and got blocked. Somebody else rebounded it and kicked it to him out for three like immediately, and he nailed it and like turned to the crowd at ODU and was like, "Quiet down." And I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it, they made a blocked shot look like offense, where they're like, "Oh, perfect, that creates a nice little open 3-point shot." The way they're moving the ball, shooting the ball, they can go in transition. It's just, I don't know. They're really good, and it's such a bummer that it's going to go Hampton, Coppin State, Morgan State instead of like a VCU or something. But that's sort of my only concern here is they're not going to be tested enough going to late in the season. I'd like to have a few more tougher matchups.
Let's zoom that out for a second. So you got Hampton, Coppin State, Morgan State coming up to finish out the non-conference schedule. 315, 361, 347, respectively, in KenPom ratings. Not good to have three sub 300 teams back to back to back to finish out your non-conference schedule. From there, you got Texas State, Louisiana, Southern Miss, South Alabama, all before you host App State on January 13th. None of those teams are in the top 175, except for top 150, of KenPom.
Yeah. I mean, you could be, what is that?
Good.
15-0, 16-0, going to the App State game against a really good team that's a rival at home. That place is going to be going insane if that's the case, especially if App State keeps it going. So I guess on the plus side, you've got like a clear, it seems like, right? You've got a clear potential. Hey, we're going 1v1 versus this other team that happens to be a rival that you have like great football history with for the league title, which will be sweet if that's the way it actually plays out. I just wish there was a little more depth across the league, or a tougher non-conference games here and there, because they're good enough to get tested and beat good teams. They just don't have a ton of like really good teams on the schedule.
They're good enough to score 5 points in 5 seconds.
That's exactly right.